welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Utica's Mayor Rob Palmieri is our guest. We've been talking about a variety of issues, including Utica's Harbor Point. And Mayor, I wanted to ask you just to expand a little bit. You mentioned a bridge connecting the auditorium, the now under construction Nexus Center, all that area in there, to Harbor Point. That's a pedestrian bridge you're talking about?
Yeah, so what we're looking for is, if you look at Whitesboro Street and the development that's going on there in the Nexus Center, the auditorium, there's a new development that'll be right next to the one on Whitesboro Street. We sold it to a group that's going to be putting a cooperage in there, Adirondack Cooperage in there, which will be a great venue for a little bit of manufacturing, wine, spirits, and then what we're looking for as we continue to grow that area is to have a pedestrian bridge where the Nexus Center is, linking it into the baseball fields, softball fields, soccer fields along the harbor, and the indoor water park and all the venues that'll come there. So it'll be an area that will be an overall destination point that as you start having your hockey tournaments, your soccer tournaments, lacrosse tournaments, your softball, your baseball, it'll be one area that you will be able to have that linkage to the Whitesboro side, into the harbor side, into the harbor, and all the recreational it'll be with the harbor itself.
Is that, you mentioned Adirondack Cooper, is that Kelly Blazowski's company?
That is Kelly's, yes.
Yeah.
And it's just a great, I am so excited about that because I think it gives you the venue of the manufacturing, and they're globally. It's not just they're in one area. They have a fine product with the cooperage, and that's where they're making the barrels for the wines and for the liquors and so forth, and they have a unique way of doing that. But they'll be able to showcase that. They'll have a tasting. They'll have a little bit of an area, a seating area for a restaurant, and to be able to, again, like you see at FX Mat, a tour, they'll be able to go through the tours, and again, what a better place to have that in an area where you're having families coming in to enjoy the harbor, the Nexus Center, the hockey games of the Comets, the Pioneers, and all the great venues that we have here. So it's extremely exciting. And then you're going to look at that across the street with the new hospital that's being installed at this point. So it's a great time for our city. We had a little bit of a pause with this pandemic, but the great thing is these are programs and constructions that are under control and will continue to reshape our great city and our great region.
And of course, I don't think there's anything that's going to reshape downtown as much as that hospital. Where are we with that?
Well, if you haven't been by there, it's a little cumbersome trying to get around there with the street closures. They're putting in all new the infrastructures, but they're moving at a good clip at this time. I think you'll start seeing some of the visual work within the next several months. But first and foremost, they had to do the demolition, which they have done. Then they have to put the infrastructure with your national grid and your water and your sewage and so forth, which they're doing. And if you drive by there now and you look at it's all open area, and it's an exciting time. Yeah. If you are going to have, as we look at the framework of keeping our families here, you have to have a state-of-the-art health facility. And that's what we'll have in the greater Utica region in a great location, which, as to your point, Joe, will be the fertilizer for our downtown, West Utica, and East Utica. So, again, all these things coming together. It's a little bit difficult traveling, but as you have growth, and we haven't seen this type of growth in years, in maybe about 4 or 5 years, we'll look at this and say, "Oh my God, this is a different city all the way."
Speaking of traveling, I can't wait, and I'll bet there's a lot of other people, including yourself, that can't wait for the road project in front of the auditorium to get done.
That will be wrapped up later this fall, and then on top of that, you're doing work simultaneously along the Riceville Street and North Genesee Street area, which is going to be, again, these are all pathways for the construction and the delivery of the walkability of the harbor to the downtown area, to the back squared area. So you're looking at all these pieces as we looked at the north-south arterial. Now you're looking at 5S. Then you'll look at North Genesee Street, the back square, looking for additional parking for obviously the explosion that'll happen along the back square area, the Nexus Center. So as you looked at the train station and what's going on at the Doyle Hardware, you look across the street, the old ConMed building, These are all buildings that are having apartments and a residential on the first, second, third floors, and it'll be retail on the other floor. So you're looking for the millennials, you're looking for the empty nesters, you're looking for people that are looking for the quality of life, the walkability, the bikeability, and we're delivering that as we speak.
Mayor, look, if you can, 5 years down the road, and describe what we're going to be seeing in that area, in the auditorium area, the downtown area, Harbor Point area. Try to figure that out for us.
Well, these are some of the things that I say. Again, you have a $600 million hospital. You have the Nexus Center. You have the harbor, which will be $30–40 million. You have all the routes of our infrastructure with DOT upgrading them. And when people are looking for quality of life, they want all the assets of a large city. You want that feel of entertainment, music, education. So one of the things we'll deliver that a larger city can't, we'll give you all the quality of life that you have the ability to raise your family, to have great working capacity here. But one thing that a large city can't give you that Utica will, it's that community feel. And we talked about the Boilermaker. You talk about St. Patrick's Day Parade. You talk about the Utica Zoo. You talk about all the quality of life that you have of a large city. But one of the things that the people deliver here is that warm, good feeling. And we saw that, we talk about the protests and what we're going through. The city represented itself extremely well because that's who we are. We build bridges. Do we have some flaws? Absolutely, but we continue to work on that and build those bridges for our refugee population, for all the populations to understand that this is a great place to live, a great place to raise your family, and certainly a great place for the generations to come, for my grandchildren, to have the ability to say, you know what, I can live here because I want to live here, but I choose to move now because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah. You mentioned grandchildren. 13, am I right?
I have 13 wonderful, beautiful grandchildren.
Good for you. When we come back, we'll talk about some other things, including the new posting online of Utica Police Department officer, personnel files, and some other things. Short break, right back.